Fantasy Football Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to TOT&HAM, the weekly show from Planet FPL where we discuss Tottenham and West Ham in a little bit more detail. My name's Suj.
My name is James. Good morning.
I am the ham part of this equation, being a West Ham fan. James is the Tottenham fan.
I'm the cockerel.
Yes, exactly. Also known as another word according to the Oxford English Dictionary now, which we'll talk about in a sec. This is the second Tottenham in a row that we're recording and my team still haven't played a game of football. So this will be interesting. Having said that, we are playing tomorrow night. And so before we get into what will be an 80% Tottenham-based show, I know everyone's switching off right now. Stick with it. Do you think that the Manchester City news will affect the team on the pitch tomorrow evening?
Yeah.
In a way that we'll show you.
I think they're going to absolutely murder you, mate.
There's one or two things. The players' minds will be elsewhere thinking, hang on a second, what's going to happen here? Should I believe and should I not? And be distracted. Or the other thing is they'll be like, we'll show you. And give us a spanking. But I don't know. Will be interesting to see what happens tomorrow night, which is the last match of game week 26, the week that never ends.
The game month 26, yeah. At least we're finally through it, and then you blink and then it's 27.
Yeah.
And Champions League is obviously back on tonight, etc.
Yeah, Liverpool playing tonight, Atletico Madrid. That would be a good game, to be honest with you. A decent game.
Yeah, Atletico have had...
tough season.
They're probably in their lowest point since Simeone took over, actually. I don't... When the draw was made, I thought it was one of them because of how they are defensively could really cause Liverpool some problems, but actually the form of the two since the draw would suggest that at the moment Liverpool actually really shouldn't have too many problems.
Let's see. Let's talk about Spurs, or a bunch of topics around Spurs as well. Where do you want to start?
Well, we should have mentioned it last week, but for whatever reason it went by. Dele Alli's daft Snapchat upload video of essentially mimicking a serious contagious virus and being racist against what appeared to be a Chinese man in the process.
There's no justification or defense of it. I don't understand how it hasn't been in the media a bit more.
I've no idea. The first thing that obviously comes to mind is Bernardo Silva.
Exactly. As a comparison, that's the one that people are using.
Do you think there's anything in it in the fact that it's Asian representation rather than black?
No, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know in this situation.
And the fact...
Delhi's mixed race?
Dele Alli is not white English as well.
Yeah.
Does that have any influence?
I'm really confused. I think a lot... there might be a lot to do with the fact that the vast majority of the media are probably mid to late old age white people that haven't got Snapchat or know even what Snapchat is or anything like that. They just, he just put something on another social network. He's not had any punishment, has he? He apologised pretty quick.
Well, the thing is a little bit like, and that's why I think the Bernardo Silva comparison comes out, is like, your man's uploaded a video.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I'm not on Snapchat, as you can probably imagine by his face, but I think it was shared with friends and very quickly become public, and then he's obviously pulled it down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things. I mean, even if you look, we'll talk about it on the main pod about Maguire's VAR last night. Like, is there anything in that, in the fact that he's English, that he's got away with it? Because that's the
sentiment, maybe
that people will come up with. It was like Shearer back in the 90s when he booted Neil Lennon in the head. He was England captain. You know, Kane admittedly gets away with stuff as well. Is there anything in that? He's a prominent member of the England national side. It shouldn't be like that.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
I mean, Dele Alli's not now. Dele Alli has no warrant to be in the England squad at the moment.
No. He's more than likely to go to the Euros, in my opinion, if Tottenham have a good end to the season. But
I can't see it. Not with Maddison and Grealish.
yeah, true. I mean, both of those two are
Chamberlain.
playing out of their skin, and
I don't see it.
yeah, it's a very, very competitive space. Now, this is not the first time Dele Alli's done stuff that's a little bit on the edge, or this is completely over the edge. But he is that he comes across as a little bit immature, and I don't want to make it sound like he's childish, but he doesn't necessarily always think about what he's doing before he does it.
No, but I'll tell you what, on a football pitch, I wish he'd fought less. Everything when he plays on instinct, he's so good. But when he thinks he's a baller and he's central midfield player and he can run a football match, like, he's wrong.
Do you think there'll be any more punishment off the back of it? It must be under investigation. Something must be taking place.
I assume not.
It's just completely
I
gone.
think so, yeah.
Wow. When you compare it with what happened with, is it Managa, the Porto player?
Marega,
Marega.
Which, I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, it's just racism in football is just, it needs...
Well, I think what was astonishing with that incident in Portugal is that it, from what it looks like, from the visuals that most of us will have seen, is that his players were not happy for him to be walking off the pitch.
Yeah, but I don't think that was... I don't think they were saying this necessarily just deal with it, mate, tough. I think they wanted to...
That's how I perceived it.
I thought it was a case of, look, you can't let the bullies win. You can't let the racist chanters win. Like, stand up for yourself a little bit here. But he was so visibly distressed. Like, if it was me in that situation...
chair thrown at him as well. Like.
If it was me in that situation, it was one of my teammates, I'd want to walk off with them. That's what I think they should have done. But it just goes to show, like, how toothless the anti-racism stuff that UEFA and the clubs and national football associations are rolling out. It's absolutely toothless.
Well, I mean, to go back to Suji's outstanding performance yesterday on the People's Poll and talking about punishments, one thing we didn't mention yesterday was the idea that Manchester City get banned for 2 years for covering up money which they've kind of paid for themselves in comparison to partial stadium closures for racism and stuff. Like, does it stack up?
Like, some of the fines that some of the clubs have had, I think, is it Lazio that have had like 15 fines in the space of 2 or 3 years or something, which are in the tens of thousands, 20,000 here, 50,000 here, 70,000 here. But you commit some kind of financial fraud and it's suddenly up to 70 million, 20 million, 30 million. Racism is a much bigger problem than that. And I think we'll end up having a different debate about it maybe on the main podcast, because if you factor that VAR and racism and all the rest of it, I feel like my love with football is edging towards as low as it has been. I just think it's just ridiculous at the moment. But that's not really what we're here to talk about now. We're talking about Dele Alli specifically. I'll be shocked if nothing happens, but it does appear like nothing will happen.
He's just not been given that much media attention in comparison to the Bernardo incident.
No. It warrants some kind of investigation as to why, potentially.
Listen, for me, it's crime, punishment, same. He should have been looking at least a one-game ban.
Agreed. This is the only way people will learn, potentially. But
I mean, the amount of chances he missed on Sunday, he might as well have missed it. He missed everything else.
Yeah. Let's. While we're talking about racism, when I saw this article on the BBC,
I could have,
and I sent it to you on WhatsApp, and you said to me, "Yeah, I've seen it."
Yeah.
I had to read it 2 or 3 times to actually try and understand that it was real. And you get these BBC Sport accounts, which is like a spoof on BBC Sport or whatever. And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, if you do go to the BBC website, I'm sure it's on other sports websites as well. The Oxford English Dictionary have added another definition to the word yid, which is a supporter of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Yeah.
And simple as that. It's not like a derogatory term for a supporter of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. It's just straight up, a yid is a supporter of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
So now every single Tottenham Hotspur supporter, whether they want to be classified with that or not, and the majority, by the way, are happy with that. Well, not happy, but don't mind it, for example.
Yeah.
Every single one can now be, it's in the dictionary, you're a yid.
Yeah.
So everything, if you go back to the Racing and Football pod, and we spoke about it for about 15 minutes at the end of that pod, and I said, look, I'm going to make a conscious decision now not to use that word anymore. I think it's time that we start changing.
Correct, yeah.
So the defence of Tottenham fans has always been that the use of the word is as a defence against the amount of abuse that Jewish Spurs fans were getting in sort of late 60s, early 70s, etc., and adopted the word basically as a reclaim. Tottenham fans, in my opinion, having researched it more and understood it better in older life, have no real right to reclaim that word. But it's gone on for 40, 50 years now.
Yeah.
It's not something that can just go away like that.
No.
The problem now is it's now absolutely acceptable for anybody to use that term at Tottenham. That's the thing that for me has gone completely missing here.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's...
Well, you're a Spurs fan, you're a Yid.
It's no more acceptable than it was before for me, because I understand the context of it. I think what you're perhaps saying is that for the people that don't understand the connotations of the word, which is the vast majority, they won't now see the negative connotation. It's been kind of put into that box of it's okay, yeah. So it's not any more okay than it was 2 weeks ago, but the majority of people now will never understand the connotations, and it's put it into that level of acceptableness, even though it's definitely not.
Well, if people are going to keep using it at Tottenham, I told you, you're never going to get it out of Tottenham.
No.
It's only going to come to the point where if other clubs stop hurling the abuse at Spurs fans, and it is particularly between the London clubs, mainly, to be honest, as I've said previously, Chelsea and West Ham, then it's not going to stop on Spurs' side. It's never going to stop.
No.
And it needs everybody else to, like, look, okay, it's not acceptable to use the term. We'll stop using the term. Then you've got to look after your own house. That's the one thing I've always defended Spurs over. And Spurs aren't going to pursue trying to get their own fans to stop using the term when they're not meaning it with any offence. Whether rightly or wrongly, it's not used when Spurs fans chant Yid Army. It's not meant in any terms of offence to anybody. It's this is who we are. Until it stops from elsewhere, you've got no chance of getting Spurs. I just find it staggering in everything that's going on around us that, would I be right in saying that our country's most famous dictionary has decided to come up with this term? From nowhere. I never even saw. Sometimes you see these things, didn't you? What was it? Ian Dowie, bounce back ability. It was like a massive petition to get bounce back ability in the dictionary, and they got it.
Yeah.
When this story broke about, Yido is now a supporter or a fan of Tottenham Hotspur, a little bit like yourself, there was nothing on the internet, nothing in the media, no one pushing for it. It was just like, it's there.
Yeah.
With like no communication with Tottenham or anything. Like Tottenham have damned it, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've been like,
nah, come on.
What are you doing?
Thing is, I think the majority of fans, when they call Spurs fans the Yids, I think they're not doing it to be racist. It's just it's like calling you
aren't. It's the same thing.
Or whatever.
They don't understand the term.
No. And so I've had conversations with people around where they'll like other West Ham fans, mates of mine or whatever, that will talk about the Yids, and I'm like, but I don't feel comfortable calling them that. But they're like, but it's just like calling you guys the wankers or what,
no, I get that, and
which is, I suppose, exacerbates the problem even more.
Like if anybody ever came up to me who I didn't even know and called me a Yid, like, there's no offence taken. I have no problem with that. But then I'm not Jewish, so it has no impact on me.
No, understandable.
There are, and to be honest, it is a minority within Tottenham Hotspur that are Jewish now. I mean, there's as many Arsenal Jewish supporters as there is Tottenham, for example.
Definitely.
But there are, I think what I've learned to come to understand is, although I've never heard anybody at Tottenham say that's offensive, don't use it to anybody. And there's a lot of Spurs Jewish fans that adopt the word as well. Is that I think now with the arena of football stadia, and that's kind of next topic of what's changing, is that we need to get to a place where we get rid of this, I think. Now it can't, because where I've made that conscious decision a few months ago to not use the word anymore, in me it kind of makes it feel like, what was I bothering for? Like, there's chants going on in the stadium now that I'm not partaking in. And yet we've got the Oxford English Dictionary that wants to say, well, you lot all are that, crack on.
Yeah,
It dumbfounds me, mate.
nah. And there's the speechless is a good way to put it, because I don't really know what to say about it. Let's talk about safe standing for a little bit. Move on to some football topics. Safe standings now come into play. United have put in a planning permission, is it, for certain parts of Old Trafford to be safe standing now?
The thing is with safe standing is basically I know from having already had my season ticket renewal letter sent to me from Tottenham that one of the notes in there is that Tottenham believe it's highly likely that this legislation is going to get passed off before next season.
Yep.
Now, the lower part of the main south stand, the big single tier at Tottenham, is already set up to have safe standing. The 3,000 in the lower tier for the away fans is also already set up to have safe standing. The home end at Wolves was modernised last year to accommodate the possibility of safe standing. And I think Celtic have particularly been pushing hard for it in Scotland for a long time. We've got a couple of clubs in lower league. Shrewsbury have got a small area at the back of their stand, which is safe standing now. And this is going to get passed off.
So is this as a result of the clubs being able to? So a lot of people who don't know much about it will be like, hang on, they just want to squeeze more people in to make more money.
It's not a case of that.
Because they're not going to be able to do that. Like, the capacity is the capacity, and they're not going to let them squeeze in an extra.
The sensitivity around the subject obviously goes back to Hillsborough in '89.
Yeah.
And that's why, following the Taylor report, following that, all the stadia in the top two divisions in England had to be all-seater stadiums.
Correct, yeah.
Was to make sure, we never had a tragedy like that again. Obviously, it didn't help. One of the things at the time with Hillsborough and other stadia was fencing, which obviously went as well. Safe standing, in my opinion, is safer than what it currently is. I really believe that. Having gone around most of the stadia in Germany for away fans, in Leverkusen, Munich, Dortmund, were all kind of safe standing areas. Basically, what you've got is it's just the same as what it is now in terms of a seating area, and you've got a rail which comes up, which essentially is kind of like elbow points. You can lean on it.
Right.
You rest on it. So in terms of, if you think of...
So maybe a chest height.
For most people, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Whack your jugs on there.
But it's one you can kind of rest your arms on, and actually makes
and lean forward.
The comfort of watching a game away from home a lot better, because for anybody who follows a sizable club in this country, if you go away from home, you're standing up all game. Mm-hmm. There's no sitting down, whether it is safe or isn't safe standing. You're standing up all game. So when on last week's Clash of the Correspondents, when Ricky Saunders was talking about, I thought it was going to have a heart attack and falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
He's talking about like bodies coming over your head. You know what that barrier is going to do? It's going to stop you going to the next person and the next person.
Yeah.
So if you take even the winning goal...
You could get squashed up against it, potentially. Maybe not, because people won't be able to
One
come...
person...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a complete barrier. It's a bar, right?
Yeah,
so worst case, you'll go underneath it or over it. That's your worst case scenario. If you look at the scenes for, say, Sun's goal, and we've seen this numerous times at Villa Park, where you got the away fans on that side by the corner flag. And we've seen it loads of times at Bournemouth, particularly as well, because it's really close to the pitch and it's on the side. It's natural when a goal's scored at that end, particularly a big goal. Player runs over and you can see the rush is happening. Safe standing won't completely eradicate that, as in the odd idiot trying to get on the pitch, etc. It will make it a lot safer for people who don't want to move from where they are.
Yep.
Because I've certainly been in the odd occasion, you think of Ajax, when the winning goal went in, and I'm up in, I wouldn't say the clouds, but I'm high,
Close,
right?
yeah.
It's high.
Yeah.
I'm about 10 rows from the back in the upper tier. When the goal went in, obviously the most mental moment ever, and within a couple of seconds, a realisation that I had to get hold of my father.
Yeah.
Because he was going to go. Because people were... a domino effect was going to happen from somewhere. Was to get hold of him and make sure, right, if he was going, I was going with him, basically. Yep. And the safe standing should, in theory, really help with that. it is safer than what it is now. And there are so many grounds where, like I said, it's happening anyway.
Yeah.
So that, admittedly, that tier at the bottom of Spurs now, where the safe standing is for home fans, they're all standing now. Because if you sat now, the bars are already there. If you sat now, that bar would be in your eye line. So the encouragement is already there for these people legally to stand. One of the problems Spurs particularly had on the old Park Lane end was with stewards and trying to get people to sit down on that lower tier at the old White Hart Lane. Like, no chance. We can throw 3,000-4,000 people out all together if they all stand up. And go sit down, so you sit down the front row, and as soon as the steward got to about row 4, they'd all stand up again, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So there are a number of people who want to stand at football. I believe that standing at football really helps the atmosphere. And the atmosphere in most football grounds in this country at the moment is seriously deteriorating. I don't think it's even just these new stadiums like Spurs, Arsenal, etc. and your own. I think across the board, atmosphere is suffering. And one of the reasons that atmosphere is seriously suffering is because of ticket pricing.
Yeah. I would say 10%.
Which is pricing so many people out of the game now.
10% of fans that come to the London Stadium, maybe not as high as that, but every week is tourist fans. You're going to get that at your place. Arsenal get that at Emirates. It's people in and out for one game. If you had the choice, would you rather stand or sit?
Depends where I am and what the view is. Because personally, I would rather stand.
Yeah.
But I've been at some away games where I get someone who's 6'4" in front of me and it's quite low. I'm struggling, mate.
Yeah.
I'm going home with 2 hurting calves through struggling to fight to see the whole game. Yeah. So it depends where it is. On that new stand at Spurs, I would have been happy to stand there. I never went there because I go with my mum and dad and they're in the mid-60s. So I was never going to make them stand. And once you got a seat at Spurs, now Spurs made it clear at the start, once you have your seat, you're going to have problems if you want to move. So we went up a tier on the side. I probably wouldn't have been that low. I'd have probably been more seating higher because I prefer a higher perspective of the game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, away from home, like I was front row at Southampton away in the league in March. There's no fault to sit down. There's no one in front of me. It's just what you do away from home is stand up.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'd rather sit at home.
When I'm in a pub,
but I don't know if I'm just a lazy bastard.
When I'm in a pub,
I
stand up the whole game and I can't sit down. Anybody come and Planet FPL Live 3, don't be saying, sit down, James, calm down. Like, if we're 1-0 up or 4-0 down, I'll be standing the whole game.
Interesting. Love everybody's thoughts on it. I don't have as much experience of away game standing. It was the Fulham pre-season that was a bit of an eye-opener to remind me of it. But then when I used to go and watch Barnet week in, week out, it was the 4th division then, or what now is League 2. There was no seats full stop, mate. So you only had the option of standing. And we a 16-year-old, 15-year-old kid to stand through the whole game, couldn't care less. But then those were different days because they used to serve the hot dogs and burgers out of polystyrene boxes that were strapped around someone's neck. And there's something wrong about buying a burger.
Why were they strapped around someone's neck?
No, as in the people selling them would walk around with these boxes full of burgers and hot dogs.
Kind of American style.
Yeah. And there's something wrong about it. But anyway, safe standing's an interesting topic, and it's coming, right? We know it's coming. It's just a case of when, not if.
When it comes in, I think the impact is that a lot of clubs will want to follow. So there's certain ends where you think, say like the whole end at Villa, you could see them absolutely wanting to do that. You could see with Everton's new stadium, them wanting to incorporate that. Could Liverpool themselves
turn the Kop into a...
Could it? I mean...
Well, they need a new stadium at some point,
The thing is that's really clever with Spurs' design is although it's a one-tier stand to the naked eye, technically it's not. And what I mean by that is basically you've got... It's probably about 25... The total tier at Tottenham is 82 rows, that single tier. I know because I've walked them and it's a job. But the first probably 30 or so are already built in to have this safe standing. Then you've got like a block off where there's gangways and quite a lot of disabled section. So between, say it's row 30 and row 31, there's a big jump. If you sit in row 31 and the guy's standing in row 30,
you can still see.
Your view is not impaired in any way. So essentially it's a group of standing, then kind of a raised level, then the rest is seating up to the top, which is clever. So, I mean, how Liverpool that would be a really big call for Liverpool. I'm sure a lot of their fans there would want it to go in spite of what happened. A lot of them will stand up on that end anyway. That's a big call to make 8,000-9,000 seats all go standing. You are affecting so many people who will potentially be in that stand, who obviously don't want to stand. But then I think if you go on a stand like the Cop, you got to know that at periods during a game, you're going to end up standing, surely.
Yep.
Just through the natural flow of the game, etc.
Yep.
So it'd be really interesting to see how that's managed going forward. A lot of clubs will want to do it. I don't know how, for example, say yourselves. I guess yours with the 2 temporary behind the goals could be. But, I mean, that's not long-term options anyway, is it?
Nah.
Because they're only... Well, they're on like wheels or something.
It's scaffolding.
Basically.
Bob the Builder built them. Let's talk about the game. There was one game that one of our clubs have managed to play in the last 2 weeks. You guys are away at Villa, doing what Mourinho does, getting over the line.
So, I spent the first 20 minutes of this game in an absolute rage.
Yeah, he didn't play well.
Awful. And even by the half time, even though we were winning, like I was still raging.
Yeah.
I tweeted at half time. Own goal, missed penalty, been awful, winning. Can't explain that.
Yeah.
Villa should have been out of sight within 20-25 minutes. Then we had a spell at the start of the second half where I was like, finish them now. We're on it. Then they equalised. Because we just can't. There's so many clubs in the Premier League that are having problems with set pieces. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt at the weekend in terms of the conditions, particularly with the first goal. Like, it's joint fuck up between Alderweireld and Lloris. But the ball suddenly seems to stop and come down quite fast. So I think Alderweireld lost the flight of it, and Lloris, who's normally quite quick to come off his line and wasn't for either of the goals, hesitated. Once you hesitate as a goalkeeper, you're finished. And then obviously, like, we nicked it late on. But then by the end, on reflection, you're going, all right, been shit. Barely strung like a move of passing together other than just like consistent keeping the thing. We've probably deserved it. And because the amount of chances we had more big chances on Sunday than Leicester had in the 9-0 against Southampton.
I think, was it 3 for Son, 4 for Dele Alli?
I think Son had 5 or 6, mate. Did he? I haven't seen, and I will look at it before tonight's Planet FPL pod, Son's XG at the weekend must have been monstrous. Him and Ali missed so many chances between them. Obviously Son's still come away with the 2 goals.
And a missed penalty, let's just chuck that in as
and
well.
A shit penalty, like, completely telegrammed where he was going to go with it. To the point you think, just roll it the other corner, mate. But hindsight's wonderful. At least he was quick enough to put the rebound in. He's still not playing well, but I can't argue with what he's doing in front of goal. I think anybody watching Spurs at the moment, I tweeted after about 25 minutes, I'm like, he's so fucking weak. It's annoying me. And I know it might have been, if it was Lee from FPL Family was having a brief couple of tweets. We were saying, like, look, he don't want to play there. Like, it's not his game to be back to goal and physical. And I get all that. It's the same. I said this last week about Lucas. It's the same thing. Give me 11 Lucas Moura is how I feel in a game like that. Bad conditions, etc. Because I know he's going to go out there and fight for it.
Yeah.
Yet without Sonny, we lose.
He is
it's interesting.
I think my big takeaway from the game was that Son is the Spurs asset to go for between now and the end of the season, and I need to figure out a way to get him in. Grealish is the Villa asset, and Grealish, if you own, just hold, man, for the rest of the season. He's that good, and if you don't, maybe wait for a couple of weeks.
I don't know, you've got a blank, and then they've got Leicester away, Chelsea at home.
Sure. So if you don't own, I wouldn't buy until those games are done. But if you own him, I think I'll just ride it through. You've probably built up quite a bit of value in him because he has been rising steadily.
My instinct is I'll probably take him into the blank, Jack Grealish. And it depends on Newcastle's result with West Brom in terms of what I do with him next. Because if he's available for me in game week 31 and I'm going to free hit in 34, then he's staying.
Yeah.
He's definitely staying.
I think I need to figure out what I'm doing here because look, Salah to Mane actually looks a really good option for me because
Save that one for the main pod section.
well, I suppose there's a knock-on effect here because that gives me £500,000 at the moment, the way the price difference is between the two. And then
an
Kevin De Bruyne,
unbelievable differential, by the way.
And then Kevin De Bruyne to Heung-min Son is the only way I can afford to get Son in, which means then it will actually give me money to turn Traore into Grealish rather than having to downgrade Maddison to Grealish. But then I've gone, my midfield is starting to really break away from this template.
I think,
or is it?
Kevin De Bruyne to Son looks obvious for game week 28. I'll stress what I repeated on the stream I was doing on Friday. Next week, ahead of game week 28, probably more than any other game week this season, do not make an early transfer. Mm-hmm. Because by the end of that week, you may have some information in terms of a Manchester City potential 29 double.
Yeah.
If you go De Bruyne to Son, you're probably going straight back the following week.
Correct.
So, consider. So you firing that double transfer for Son at home to Wolves, for example.
Doesn't seem that tempting yet.
From an FPL point of view, we'll talk Spurs a bit more tonight. He who picks the team since he became manager, now the second best record in the league.
Really? Behind Ancelotti? Perhaps. No, Klopp, obviously. But
Wake up, Suj.
no, I suppose Ancelotti's came a little bit later, so maybe Everton would be close.
Isn't that the most staggering thing you've heard in a long time?
It's not surprising. It's Mourinho, isn't it? And you've got the players still to be able to do it. If you look at it, after 6 games, we were 4th or whatever it was. When you look at each individual game, we could just as easily have been 6th from bottom or 4th from bottom or whatever. It's the same for Spurs. You could just as easily. It's a 1 goal, 2 goals, 1 goal in so many games that have been on a knife edge. And it's what Mourinho does. He gets over the line just.
I would like to counter the statistical because it's not as good as it looks.
No.
23 points from 13 games is not what I would expect from a Tottenham team. I would expect a Tottenham team to be hitting a minimum of 26 points per game to want to be a Champions League side. The reason that Spurs are in that table in second so far is the clusterfuck of the Premier League season that we're currently in because no one can show consistency. In that same period of time, Chelsea have, I think it's 15 points from 14 games. What's that?
Yeah, that's mad.
That form over a season is going to get you finishing 17th, 16th. And that's now over more than a third of a season. And we go there on Saturday, exactly in the position we were in December, before we didn't turn up and lost. Now, not only do we, if we win, we go level on them in December. We win this one, we go 2 points clear of them.
Wow.
Planet FPL Live, Saturday lunchtime, just got lively.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to TOT&HAM. It's a Tuesday morning rundown today, so we'll knock it out quite quickly for people to listen to.
We always knock things out quickly.
Yeah, that's how it works. We've got a main podcast coming at you today as well, followed by Sky Fantasy Football tomorrow, Clash of the Correspondents on Thursday. So much FPL content. If you haven't had a chance to listen back to the Man City podcast, you can do that, which was yesterday's People's Poll.
Let's give it up for Suits,
man. Well, I only did a bit of reading. So do listen to that.
The majority of us clearly can't read, I'm guessing, then, including myself.
Of course. Do hit like, subscribe, share the podcast with all your FPL playing friends, football fans, all the rest of that kind of stuff. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man. Ciao. Can't you, Spurs?